If a taxpayer like me that uses a CPA, typically, that's seen as a CPA is not going to cheat. For example, I use both a CPA, a tax preparer, and accountant, both to have my taxes done. If one prepares their taxes through a CPA, does that or other things reduce their risk of an audit amidst this new environment?
Well, it does two things. It depends on the CPA, as you know. It depends on the CPA, right? A good CPA should actually reduce your chances of being audited. Absolutely. Because how you've set yourself up as a business, how you set yourself up as a real estate investor, how it's actually structured, what type of entities you use, et cetera. Some entities get audited more than others. There's no question. Okay. So like a Schedule C or a Schedule E for real estate, those are going to get audited way more often than a 1065, a partnership, or an 1120 an S corporation. On top of that, even how you report things on the tax return can make a difference. The second thing, though, which I think is going to be way more important, is when the IRS does come knocking, you going to handle that yourself, really? Or are you going to say, well, now I need a CPA? Now you're going to hire a CPA who doesn't know anything about your situation to go in and fight that audit? Are you kidding me? You want to have a relationship. You want somebody, first of all, your CPA better not be afraid of the IRS. If your CPA is afraid of the IRS, you need a new CPA. And the way to find that out is ask them about legitimate deductions like home office that seem to be controversial among CPAs, but they're not controversial at all. That's a legitimate deduction. Could the IRS come in and say, you know what? We don't like home office deductions. Even though it's in the law, we're just not going to allow any of them. That's fine, but guess what? Your chances of being audited are much higher depending on how you report your business. So having that CPA, I think it makes a huge difference, not just in whether you get audited, but what happens if you get audited.
I haven't been audited, but recently the IRS sent a notice that they wanted some more documentation and clarification about some things. They sent that to me. I forwarded that right over to my CPA, and they answered it promptly and confidently because I use a CPA that's from Tom's Wealthability network. Tom, I know you've been growing your network of competent, trained CPAs. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we have about 60 CPA firms across the country that are members of our network. And what we do is when somebody calls us, say a real estate investor, an entrepreneur calls us, what we're going to do is we're going to find the CPA that fits their situation the best. So, I don't need somebody locally. What I need is somebody who understands my situation. So let me give you an example. If you're a real estate investor, you want somebody who understands real estate investment. If you're an oil and gas investor, you want somebody who understands oil and gas investing. If you're a small business, you want somebody who charges small business rates. If you're a bigger business, you want somebody who is more sophisticated and can handle, they may charge higher rates, but you're okay because you've got a more sophisticated situation. So we're trying to match you with the right people based on your situation. We know our CPAs very, very well, much easier than you trying to go out and interview a CPA. You really want the easy button.
Yeah, I act locally where it makes sense, but I don't buy properties locally. I buy my properties in other states. I have a high ratio of rent income to purchase price and landlord-tenant law that makes sense for property owners. And I also don't have a CPA that's local. Maybe they could end up being local, but instead I don't lead with that. I go get one that understands my situation as an active real estate investor.